Patton. Guess I don't need my mask since you're in your classroom and I'm clear over here in the library. I want to show you where the children's collection normally is housed. It's in this black bookcase, and in this top of this bookcase here, we're right inside the front doors of the library. So it's kind of crowded in here right. Oops, don't need this. Kind of crowded in here right now because we still have all these math textbooks kids still need to check out. But don't worry about that. What I want to show you today is the collection of children's books that you can use for your ethnic studies class. So they're on this cart, and I have them divided up, and I'm going to show you about that in a second. But the first question you might have is, why does a high school library have all these children's books? Well, there's a reason. One reason is that we have English language learners, ELL students, and so picture books are wonderful for English language learners. We also have students that have a low reading ability, so these books are really good for those kids. And then we also have kids that take American Sign Language, and if you've been in that class, or when you are in that class later, you'll find that one of the assignments is to take a children's book and sign it. And that's way easier than trying to do a full novel or a longer piece of work. So for your class, I've made a collection, and you've probably already seen the video I made about how to search for the books under the collections in Destiny Quest or Destiny Discover. And I've divided for you today this collection of 65 books into 4 different sections. This little section right here is Asian, and it covers some of the islands. It covers Korea, Japan, India, and so on. So one of the books is on tsunami, and I wanted to show you this because the pictures in this are just spectacular. This is a picture of when the tsunami hits, and so you can see the water crashing over, and then all the debris, the houses and everything being swept away. This is just a beautiful book. So this book on tsunamis tells a personal story of a village in Japan, whereas if you were just going to do research on tsunamis, then I have a regular nonfiction book, but it's not nearly as engaging as that picture book is. So this section right here is on Latinx, and some of these books are about historical figures like Cesar Chavez, and he has, the illustrator, she has made just some fabulous photographs, or illustrations, I should say. So you can read the story of Cesar Chavez organizing farm workers in this beautiful award-winning picture book. Or if you were doing a report for social studies, then you could read the nonfiction book I have. And let's find this picture. See, here's a picture of them loading a truck. It's nowhere near as pretty as the one I just showed you. So you might get the basic information you need in this, which might be more fun for you to read than that. If you were interested, let's say, in immigration, then this book, Going Home, by Eve Bunting, famous author of children's books. This is the story of a family immigrating to the United States, and so look at the beautiful, beautiful illustrations. If you were studying about immigration or social studies, then you might have one of these nonfiction books that I have. And again, has lots of facts, but it's certainly not as engaging to read. So this is the Latinx, this is Asian. Oh, and I must say, I have very few books about the Pacific Islands and territories. I don't have much on Guam or Samoa. I have asked some of the other elementary librarians in the district for some suggestions because I realized how slim this section actually is. Okay, now I'm going to turn around this cart. On the back side of this cart, weighs a ton. On this side, I have a few Native American picture books. I do have a vast collection, and you can't really see it, but it's a couple of shelves over. I have a vast selection of young adult fiction Native American, but I don't have very many children's books. But I do have this. This is a really good one by Sherman Alexie, who's a very famous Native American writer. He's from the Spokane tribe, and some of you might have read The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. That's one of his books. And this is another one of his books. So you can see that he often writes about music and guitars. So this is a young adult book by him. But this picture book is on a similar theme with the music and the guitar. So this is Sherman Alexie's Thunder Boy Jr. And this big section here is on Black Americans and also some African stories. And I picked a few I wanted to show you. This one is called Harriet and the Promised Land, and it's a story about Harriet Tubman. And if you wanted biographies of Harriet Tubman, I've got several, but I think you might just enjoy this picture book and the fabulous illustrations in here. For instance, this one, when they're running through the forest, you can see it. It just feels like the trees are moving, the people are moving, the animals. This is just beautiful artwork. So that's called Harriet and the Promised Land. Now, another one with beautiful illustrations is this one called Visiting Langston. And that's a story of Langston Hughes and the Harlem Renaissance. So I have biographies of him, so lots and lots of text. But if you're just interested in an overview of Langston Hughes, then this would be a wonderful book, and it has spectacular illustrations that are kind of like a collage. Just beautiful. So that's Visiting Langston. And then Martin Luther King. We have many books. I have other picture books as well, but this one, a picture book of Martin Luther King Jr. Has mostly watercolors, and I just love this picture of them. This is about the Montgomery bus boycott. So I have quite a few books by Martin Luther King, or you could read one of his biographies. Again, lots of text, but I think you might enjoy these picture books. And Kwame Alexander, he was Lacey Loves to Read author a few years ago, and he also wrote all these books that some of you have seen in the library, these sports books that he writes in verse. So these are for young adults, but he has this fabulous picture book called The Undefeated, and it focuses on a whole bunch of historic figures like Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks and Sarah Vaughan and Billie Holiday and Miles Davis, Muhammad Ali, all kinds of musicians and sports figures, and then everyday kids, everyday people. So this is just an absolutely gorgeous, and that's Martin Luther King, absolutely gorgeous book by Kwame Alexander. So I could go on for an hour. We have so many, but I hope this just gives you an overview of what we have. And again, look at that collection called Ethnic Studies Children's Books. Pick the one you want, and then copy the title, and then send it in the email to rrhslibrary@nthurston.k12.wa.us. We have the longest email in the world, don't we? Just about. And make sure you give us your name, full name, and your student number if you remember it. And if you have a cell number, put that. Not necessary, and then we'll check it out to you and have it ready for you to pick up at the front doors of the library between 7 and 2:30 Monday through Friday. Okay? Thanks.